In this instructional video, you will be taught the basics of beginning with polymer clay. This video will go over the materials you need, where you get them, how to save money, helpful tips, do's and don'ts, and everything you need to know about getting started with clay. Now we'll begin. Some of the most basic materials that a polymer clay crafter owns are a variety of clays, storing containers, cutting tools, rolling tools, and a clean, non-stick workspace where you can perform your work. If you can't find a non-stick surface, feel free to buy a silicone or plastic placemat from almost any craft or home accessory store. The other helpful materials some people own are a variety of paintbrushes for both paint and glaze, a variety of acrylic paints, glossy glaze for making your artwork shiny, adhesives and glues, a toothbrush or sandpaper to texture clays and special effects, and any designated baking sheet to bake your clay. It doesn't have to be very big. For extra decorating, you can have a variety of glitter and sparkles for special occasions, sequins and mini beads, googly eyes for creating creatures, silicone caulk or whipple clay for frosting effects like the one you see here, and anything you can find to give your project theme and style. Helpful items to buy for jewelry making is eye pins for hanging your crafts, loose chain, yarn, cord, jump rings, clasp, blank rings, and earring, molding putty your clay to help replicate your future projects for both clay and resin crafts, and anything else jewelry related to help you get on your journey. Here's some helpful tips for using these items. While texturing your clays, you can use just about anything to give your crafts texture, like the cake you see here. Here I'm using a blade to make the cake look more realistic. You can buy other tools such as a toothbrush. Some people also use sandpaper and specialty tools. Liquid clay, such as the Sculpey brand Bacon Bond, is nice to have for extra decoration, or bonding your crafts together before you bake them, instead of having to use glue. It is also nice to have when you'd rather be careful at adding detail without damaging your project. Having good storage for all of your tools and supplies is a great idea. These can be plastic storage containers, toolboxes, organizing bins, or whatever you would rather use for storing. I use Tupperwares to help organize my clays, paints, and other decorations. And I also use a two-part zipper pouch, one to separate my sharp items from my brushes and other tools. Sometimes you will find yourself using one color of clay more than another, so it's not a bad idea to keep extra supply of the color clays you use the most. Mixing colors of clays together is alright, especially if you don't have the exact color you need to use. If you have scrap clay or messy clay that you feel is no longer usable, keep it. Roll it up into a ball and put it in a plastic bag or storage container. You can use this clay as a base for other projects, or to paint. So where do you get all these supplies? I bought most of these items from Michael's Craft Store, eBay.com, and Dollar Tree. Yes, most of the items you see here were purchased for less than $1. Some of these items do not require a whole lot of spending money. You can also purchase wholesale lots of jewelry supplies from eBay for about 50 cents to a couple dollars. Here's some of the things that I bought from the dollar store. As you can see, my storage containers and cases were from there. I also got some brushes, some cutting tools, glues, glitter, sticks, pliers, and findings. Remember to check out your local craft store's weekly ads and coupons. Some of them offer rewards programs and discount cards from little to no cost at all. I got a rewards card from Michael's Crafts, and I save bunches of money anytime I take a trip. Here are some common do's and don'ts for working with clay. Do work with a freshly cleaned surface before and between projects to prevent stains or unwanted crumbs. Do wash your brushes after each time you paint or glaze your work. Not doing so can lead to permanent damage to your brushes, or you may never be able to use them again. Clean your brushes with special brush cleaner or hot soap and water, depending on your brush's care instructions. Do designate your own baking sheet or container strictly for your clay. Clay can leave residue on your baking materials, and it may be an unpleasant experience when you use it for food. If you do not have more than one baking container, using non-stick foil works just as well. Do try your best to refrain from using sharp metal blades for cutting and shaping. Blades are not only very sharp and can cut you, they can easily break and go missing. Finding them later can be dangerous for you and the living things in your house. Try buying plastic tools instead, unless metal is necessary for you. Do have your parents with you when you're buying craft supplies. Some tools and materials contain ingredients that could potentially harm you, and some places will not sell them to you without an adult. Do not glaze, decorate, glue, or paint before you bake. Do it after the clay is baked, hardened, and cooled. These items are extremely flammable and do not end well in the oven. Burning glitter does not smell good and is not worth the house fire. Do not wash your hands for 20 minutes before touching your clay. Instead, use baby wipes before and in between projects. Water can ruin clay, and drying your hands leaves lint. Do not remove or touch your clays until they are completely cooled. Some clays are still a little soft after removed from the oven and completely harden when they're cool. Be careful not to burn yourself. Use caution when removing your projects. Do not soften your clay with water. Like mentioned before, water is bad for clay. Instead, work the clay with your hands until it is warm enough to work with, or buy special clay softener at your local craft store. Do not place items covered with clay in the oven. If you're covering an item such as a pen, make sure to create a mold with a non-stick foil. Remove it from the object and bake it in the oven with the foil in it. Then place and glue it onto the pen after it is cooled. Do not place polymer clay in the microwave. Some of it is made for oven only. Be sure to check the instructions on the back. And that is it. You know the basics of getting started with polymer clay. Working with clay is so much fun and can give you hours of entertainment. It is also a great way to take your mind off the stress, and it is fun for anyone of any age. Be creative and have fun.